So you think books are safe? So you think books are safe? For most of us, they're sources of knowledge, comfort, maybe a little escape. They sit on our shelves, quiet and harmless. But what if some books were never meant to be read? What if instead of enlightenment, they were created for damnation? History is filled with legends of cursed books, bound in shadow and ink, promising ruin to anyone who dares turn their pages. We've got the baffling Voynich manuscript, which drove cryptographers to obsession, and the mysterious Book of Soiga, whose owner believed it held secrets that only an archangel could translate. But out of all these legends, one book is more infamous than any other. A book so huge it was called a wonder of the world. A Bible, supposedly written in a single night with a little help from the devil himself. This is the story of the Codex Gigas, better known as the Devil's Bible. Forged in the early 13th century, it's the largest medieval manuscript known to exist. Its name, Codex Gigas, is just Latin for giant book, and believe me, it earns the title. Measuring nearly 3 feet tall and weighing a staggering 165 pounds, it's a monster of a book. You'd need at least 2 people just to lift it. The whole thing is bound in leather-wrapped wooden boards, decked out with ornate metal guards. Inside you'll find 310 leaves of vellum, a type of parchment thought to be made from the skins of over 160 animals. The idea was to build a whole library in a single volume, a collection of all earthly knowledge, and sure enough, half of the book is the entire Latin Bible. But right alongside the Holy Scriptures, it holds a truly bizarre collection of other texts, histories by Josephus, an encyclopedia, medical guides, a chronicle of Bohemia, and most chillingly, a set of magical formulas and exorcism spells. It's this strange, unsettling mix of the sacred and the profane that gives the book its edge. But as weird as the contents are, they aren't what gave this book its demonic reputation. For that, we have to turn to the legend of its creation, a story of desperation, damnation, and a pact made in the dead of night. The legend takes us to a Benedictine monastery in the 13th century Bohemia, now the Czech Republic. Inside its walls lived a monk named Herman who had broken his sacred vows. His sin was so serious he was sentenced to one of the most horrific punishments imaginable, immurement. He was to be walled up alive in a brick tomb and left to starve. As the masons were laying the final bricks, Herman, terrified, begged the abbot for his life. He made an impossible promise. If they spared him, he would write a book in a single night. Not just any book, but a magnificent volume containing all human knowledge. A book that would bring eternal glory to their monastery. The abbot, maybe out of morbid curiosity, agreed. So Herman was led to a cell with a stack of parchment and a pot of ink, and he started to write. The hours crawled by. The candles burned down. As midnight approached, the monk realized just how impossible his promise was. The sheer scale of the work was beyond any mortal man. His hand ached, his eyes burned, and he had barely made a dent. He was doomed. In his final desperate moment, he prayed, but not to God. He prayed to Lucifer, the fallen angel, offering his soul in exchange for finishing the book. And as the legend goes, the devil appeared. A deal was struck. When the sun rose, the other monks were speechless. There was Herman, standing next to a colossal, perfectly finished book. His life was spared, but his soul was lost. And as a final, grateful nod to his new business partner, Herman added one last touch, a massive, full-page portrait of the devil himself. This terrifying legend has clung to the book for centuries. But is it just a story? Or is there something more to it? Before we switch from storytellers to investigators to peel back the layers of this myth, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what modern science has to say about the Devil's Bible. Today, the Codex Gigas lives in the National Library of Sweden, and the first thing you notice is its sheer size. At 3 feet tall, 20 inches wide, and almost 9 inches thick, it's an absolute behemoth. But as you look closer, the mystery only deepens. The entire book, from cover to cover, is written in an incredibly uniform script. The scribe's hand never seems to waver from age, fatigue, or mood. This flawless consistency is exactly what made people think it was written in an impossibly short time, feeding into that one-night legend. Then there's the content. It's a library in itself with the Old and New Testaments, the works of Flavius Josephus, an encyclopedia, the Chronicle of Bohemia, and even medical texts. But woven into this body of knowledge are pages that just feel different. There's a calendar that includes a necrology, a list of the dead, and then there are the spells and rituals for exorcising evil spirits. It's a book that contains both the Word of God and the weapons to fight the armies of hell. But the heart of the book's dark fame is on folio 290 recto, a single, otherwise blank page dominated by a terrifying 20-inch tall portrait of the devil. He's crouching, with a green face, red-tipped horns, huge claws, and two long forked tongues. He wears an ermine loincloth, a fur usually reserved for royalty, a chilling nod to his title as the Prince of Darkness. He is trapped alone between two towers, staring out at you across 8 centuries. It's a deeply unsettling image. Directly opposite this portrait is a painting of the heavenly city. Good and evil, heaven and hell, placed side by side in the center of the manuscript. The pages leading up to this spread feel incredibly personal, filled with a long list of sinful confessions, written in all caps, as if the author himself was wrestling with his own soul before presenting these two visions of the afterlife. The book's journey is just as dramatic. After being passed between monasteries, it was seized by the Holy Roman Emperor Rudolph II, an occult fanatic. Then, in 1648, the Swedish army looted Prague and took the codex as war booty. The supposed curse followed it. During a massive fire at the Stockholm Royal Castle in 1697, librarians reportedly saved the priceless manuscript by throwing the 165-pound book out of a window. It survived, but legend says that during the fall, some of its pages were torn out and lost forever. To this day, 12 pages are still missing, and nobody knows what secrets they held. So we've got a terrifying legend, a bizarre collection of texts, and a chilling portrait of the devil. But what does modern science say about this demonic pact? Well, handwriting experts have studied the Codex Gigas in incredible detail, and their conclusions are, in their own way, just as astonishing as the legend. That remarkable consistency in the writing, it really does point to a single scribe. An analysis of the ink confirmed it was all made from the same recipe, probably using crushed insect nests. All the evidence suggests that one person wrote and illustrated this entire massive book. But could they have done it in one night? Absolutely not. Experts estimate that just writing the text without any of the illustrations would have taken one person working day and night at least 5 years. A more realistic timeline, factoring in the intricate artwork and a monk's normal schedule, puts the creation time between 20 and 30 years. This book wasn't the product of a demonic pact. It was the life's work of one incredibly dedicated and ridiculously patient person. So who was this mystery man? While there's no formal signature in the book, a name has been connected to it through historical records. Hermanus Inclusus. Hermanus is Latin for Herman, the name from the legend. But the word inclusus is where the story got twisted. While it can imply imprisonment, a more common meaning is recluse. So it's far more likely Herman wasn't a condemned criminal, but a hermit monk who chose to dedicate his life to this monumental task, maybe as a form of penance. The legend of being walled up was probably just a sensationalized misreading of a life spent in voluntary, solitary devotion. This one man, Herman the Recluse, likely spent decades in a quiet cell, painstakingly creating his masterpiece. The Codex Gigas, the Devil's Bible, isn't the result of a deal with the devil. It's the result of one man's unwavering 30-year commitment. That flawless uniformity isn't a sign of supernatural speed, it's a mark of masterful skill. The legend of the desperate monk is just a dark fairy tale, spun around an incredible act of real-life human endurance. And yet, the legend persists. Science can tell us how it was made, but it can't quite erase the feeling of unease the book inspires. It doesn't explain away the chilling power of that full-page portrait of the devil. It can't silence the whispers about a curse that followed the book through fires and wars, or the tantalizing mystery of those 12 missing pages. The Codex Gigas stands at a crossroads where history and myth collide. It's a monument to human devotion, but it will forever be known by the name it earned from a story of damnation. We know one man poured his life into its pages, but the image of a desperate monk making a deal with the devil is the story that has captured our imagination for centuries. So what do you think? Can an object carry the weight of its own dark legend even after the facts are laid bare? Let us know your theories in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more journeys into the mysteries of the past.